a press for olives, like a wine press, where they trod the olives. I haven't been to a wine press, but I've seen some on the television. And what they do is they actually press the grapes to make wine. The old school, they step on it. Like they have this huge bucket, and then they go inside and then they start stepping on it, squeezing the grapes so that juice will come out. Squeezing the grapes so that juice will come out. Now, I want you to picture this. Jesus Christ in Gethsemane. This is where it becomes even more significant. Because if you look closer, picture Jesus Christ on His knees. If you look closer on the face of Jesus Christ, you can see that Jesus was dripping not sweat, but blood. He was sweating blood. Verse 44, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When I was in high school, I used to be very sporty. Doesn't look like now, but I used to. I used to play basketball varsity, something else. When I was in college, I played chess because it's not physical. And I sweat a lot. But I haven't, for the life in me, sweat blood. Literally. Many modern scholars try to explain this sin under the pretense that it did not actually happen. That this is just what they call a figure of speech. Or a simile, because of the word like. On the contrary, there are a whole bunch of actual and factual cases that occurred which proves that what happened to Jesus Christ has a medical validity to it. That this is not just a figure of speech, that this is not just a simile or a metaphor, that this is a literal happening, that it happened literally. That Jesus Christ actually sweat blood. Let's analyze this medically. Dr. C. Truman Davis is quick to assert that every attempt imaginable has been used by modern scholars to explain away the phenomenon of bloody sweat, apparently under the mistaken impression that it simply does not occur, that it cannot happen. It will not happen. A great deal of effort could have been saved by consulting the medical literature. Although it is quite rare, the phenomenon of hematidrosis, that is, or bloody sweat, is well documented. Under great emotional stress, tiny capillaries in the sweat glands can break, thus mixing blood with water. Dr. Gerald H. Bradley asserts that it involves causing great weakness. During this process, as a result of hemorrhage into the sweat glands, the skin becomes fragile and tender. As for the extent of damage, Jesus' actual blood loss probably was minimal. However, in the cold night air, it may have produced chills. And the chills is not just, it's not that. It's actual shaking. So under careful observation, Christ's condition of hematidrosis can be shown as valid, given the sweat was actually blood. That at that moment in time when Jesus Christ was praying, when Jesus Christ was asking the Father, Lord, please take away this cup, that He was sweating blood. He was sweating blood. Now, what's the effect of this? In his book, The Case for Christ, Lee Strobel interviewed Dr. Alexander Matheron and asked him this question: did this have any other effect on the body? Of which the doctor answered, what this did was set up the skin to be extremely fragile, so that when Jesus was flogged by the Roman soldiers the next day, his skin would be very, very sensitive. Have you ever been burnt by water, hot water? Like even the steam. And then when you get burned by the steam, you feel like a bit of reddish. And then when you touch it, it feels very sensitive, correct?
Yes.
Multiply that by 100, that's what Jesus Christ felt at that moment in time. That even a small touch, he could actually feel pain. Now imagine that skin being so fragile, the next day, flogged by the Roman soldiers. I was going to show you the video Passion of the Christ, just a little clip of that, but I forgot the DVD. But I'm pretty sure most of you saw that already. Now here is Jesus Christ, who is God incarnate, full of glory and power, bleeding. Not for himself. He was bleeding not for himself. He was bleeding for you and for me. He was there bleeding, praying. I would go as far as saying crying. Not for himself, but for you and for me. In 2 Corinthians 5:21, it says there, for our sake, He made Him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in Him we might become God's righteousness. Jesus Christ was there not because He wanted to be there. Jesus Christ was there because of you and because of me. Jesus Christ knew that He was going to die. How? I cannot even begin to imagine my situation if I will know that I am going to die. Let alone how I am going to die. I mean, I understand that we have cases of cancer, people having cancer, and they know that they're going to die. I can't even imagine how they would feel. And for the life of me, I really don't want to know. But Jesus Christ, the state of Jesus Christ at this moment in time is quite different, because not only does He know he will die, He knows when, He knows how, He knows the process, and most of all, He cannot do anything about it. Because He was destined to do that. And the main reason why? Because of you, because of me. He knew that He needs to suffer. He knew that He needs to die. He knew that He will die. The intensity of this thought alone can cause so much mental anguish that Jesus Christ sweat blood literally. He was thinking about it. He was praying about it so much that his small veins in his head start to burst. Literally, and that's why he was sweating blood. The thought about dying, the thought about carrying all our sins, not just back then, but even today, the thought of assuming sin